a loving husband, a father of two beautiful girls, a third child on the way. To the outside world, Chris Watts was the image of the perfect family man, but behind closed doors, a darkness was building. And in the early hours of August 13th, 2018, that darkness would explode into one of the most horrifying family murders in American history. What drives a man to kill his wife and children and then lie to the world with a smile? This is the story of the Watts family massacre. Frederick, Colorado, an idyllic suburban town nestled between wide skies and quiet neighborhoods, a place where crime is rare and neighbors know each other by name. It was here, in a modest two-story home on Saratoga Trail, that Chris and Shanann Watts lived with their two daughters, Bella and Celeste. On the outside, their lives seemed picture perfect. Shanann, a bubbly and energetic woman, often posted about her life on Facebook. She was thriving in her career with a health supplement company, adored her children, and frequently shared moments of gratitude for her husband. Chris, quiet and reserved, was a technician at Anadarko Petroleum. By all appearances, he was the quiet, supportive partner. But social media doesn't always tell the whole story. Beneath the carefully curated posts and smiling family photos, tensions were growing, secrets, financial struggles, and infidelity. And in the early morning hours of a summer Monday, those tensions would culminate in a crime so brutal, so deeply personal, that it shocked not just the town of Frederick, but the entire world. It began on August 13th, 2018. At 1:48 a.m., Shanann Watts returned home from a business trip to Arizona. She was dropped off by her friend and colleague, Nicole Atkinson, who had grown concerned when she didn't hear back from Shanann the next morning. By 12:10 p.m., Nicole was at the Watts residence, knocking on the door, calling, and texting. No one answered. Shanann had missed a doctor's appointment and wasn't returning messages, a red flag for someone known for being highly organized. She called Chris, who claimed his wife had taken the girls on a play date, but her car was still in the garage. Her purse, phone, and keys were inside the house. Nicole contacted the Frederick Police Department, prompting a welfare check. Body cam footage from Officer Scott Coonrod shows Chris arriving at the house, calm and cooperative. He allowed officers in, pointing out that Shanann's belongings were untouched. He mentioned they'd had an emotional conversation before she went missing. Nothing looked out of place, but something felt off. Shanann's phone was found between the couch cushions. Her wedding ring was left on the bedside table. Her suitcase was still at the bottom of the stairs. No sign of the girls, no signs of forced entry. As the day wore on, concern deepened. Shanann was 15 weeks pregnant with a son they had already named Nico, and yet she had vanished, along with her two daughters. The case escalated quickly. Within hours, the FBI and Colorado Bureau of Investigation joined the search. Posters went up, media coverage exploded, and Chris Watts stood before the cameras, pleading for his family's safe return. If you're out there, just come back. If somebody has her, just bring her back. I need to see everybody. I need to see everybody again. This house is not complete without anybody here. But behind the scenes, investigators were growing suspicious. Chris was oddly composed, emotionally detached, and when police asked him to take a polygraph test, he agreed. It was administered on August 15th. He failed, miserably. That same day, during a follow-up interview, agents pressed harder. At first, Chris deflected, but eventually, he asked to speak alone with his father, Ronnie Watts. It was in that conversation that Chris cracked, but not fully. He admitted to killing Shanann, but claimed he only did so after she had allegedly smothered their daughters. He said, "He went into a rage. It was a lie, a desperate attempt to shift blame. Still, it was enough to arrest him." Later that night, investigators found the bodies. The location was shocking in its cruelty. Chris had disposed of his wife and daughters on a remote Anadarko petroleum site where he worked. Shanann's body was found in a shallow grave near two large oil tanks. Bella and Celeste were found inside the tanks themselves. He had forced their small bodies through 8-inch hatches, one in each tank. The oil preserved their remains, making recovery difficult and emotionally devastating for the forensic teams. It was now confirmed. This was not a case of a mother snapping. This was premeditated murder, cold, calculated, and entirely committed by Chris Watts. So what was the motive? Investigators discovered that Chris had been having an affair with a co-worker named Nicole Kessinger. They began seeing each other in late June 2018. Kessinger later claimed she believed Chris was already separated and in the process of divorcing Shanann. But messages retrieved from Chris's phone told a different story. He was obsessed with Kessinger. He started working out more, changed his demeanor, and fantasized about a new life. One without his family. Rather than file for divorce, Chris chose annihilation, and he nearly got away with it. Initially charged with first-degree murder, unlawful termination of a pregnancy, and tampering with a deceased body, Chris Watts faced the death penalty. But in November 2018, he agreed to a plea deal to avoid it. On November 6th, he pleaded guilty to all 9 counts. During the sentencing hearing, the court heard gut-wrenching statements from Shanann's family. Frank Razuchek, Shanann's father, said, "We trusted you. Your faithful wife trusted you. Your children adored you, and they also trusted you. You took them out like garbage." Chris was sentenced to 5 life terms, 3 consecutive, 2 concurrent, without the possibility of parole. He is currently incarcerated at Dodge Correctional Institution in Wisconsin, far from Colorado, due to safety concerns. In early 2019, from behind bars, Chris gave investigators a chilling 5-hour confession. This time, he admitted everything. On the morning of August 13th, he had argued with Shanann about separating. When she accused him of cheating, he snapped and strangled her to death in their bedroom. As he wrapped her body in a sheet, Bella walked in. "What's wrong with Mommy?" she asked. Chris told her Mommy was sick. He then loaded Shanann's body into his truck, with both girls still alive and sitting beside their mother's corpse, and drove 45 minutes to the oil field. There, in the open daylight, he smothered Celeste first. Bella, who saw it happen, begged for her life. "Daddy, no," she screamed. "Please don't do to me what you did to Cece." Those were her last words. He smothered Bella, then disposed of their bodies. No rage, no heat of the moment, just cold-blooded execution. The case of Chris Watts is one that leaves a scar. It haunts because it came from within. The call, as they say, came from inside the house. There were no break-ins, no random attacks, just a husband and father who decided his family was an inconvenience to his new life, and so he erased them. Shanann Watts was a mother, a daughter, a friend. Bella and Celeste were innocent, joyful children with their whole lives ahead of them. Baby Nico never got to be born. What makes this case so chilling is not just the brutality, but the deception, the fake smiles, the TV interviews, the lies spun so confidently while his family lay dead. It is a sobering reminder that evil doesn't always come wearing a mask. Sometimes it looks like the quiet neighbor, the loving husband, the man next door. Today, the house on Saratoga Trail sits silent. The once lively home is empty. But the memory of Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and Nico lives on, through their family, through the community, and through a world still asking, why? Why did Chris Watts do it? Maybe even he doesn't know. Maybe some darkness is too deep to name.